Hey everybody, it's your girl Neil, and guess what? I am here in the tiny studio. How are you doing? I hope that you are having a great day because I am having a stupendous afternoon. What are we going to talk about in the tiny studio today? Well, this is a dreadlock love, baby. You know what time it is. It's time to talk about all things dreadlocks. So, what we're going to do today is this video is for those who are curious, who are interested in starting locks, and also for those who are currently on their lock journey. Now, the subject that we're going to talk about a little bit about colorism, but we're basically going to talk about texture, our hair texture, and our hair pattern. We're going to talk about texturism, and we're going to talk about a little bit about colorism when it comes to dreadlocks. Now, in previous videos, when I talk about dreads, I am mostly and primarily addressing, excuse me, my brothers and sisters in the African American community. And let's just start off with that. The reason why that I primarily address African Americans on or Africans across the diaspora. The reason why I primarily address this demographic in my dreadlock videos is simply because I am a Black woman. I am of African American descent. I am of Native American, Chinese, and African descent, which makes me an African American or Black American living in America. So I have experience with working with the patterns and hair textures that are unique to our experience. I cannot speak on textures and hair patterns of those who do not share my same cultural ethnicity. Now, this video is about loving the texture of our hair. Now, I have said this in previous videos, but it never hurts to be repetitive. Before, and this is for my sisters, before you make the commitment to lock your hair, it is always advisable to spend at least 1 year or up to 2 years being a natural diva. Why do I say this? I say this because most of us have gone our entire lives up to this point using relaxers on our hair, using relaxers, wearing weaves, anything of that caliber. We really do not practice true natural hair care maintenance the way we did when I was coming up, or the way we did when my mom was a young woman. We don't really practice those things anymore. I hear certain terminologies and phrases that, I never heard before. And one of those phrases is protective hairstyling, protective hairstyles. What would you need a protective hairstyle for? I never knew what a protective hairstyle was for, because when I was coming up, basic hair care maintenance was basically your protective hairstyle. So, if you were into braids or cornrows, there were certain things that you did. If you pressed your hair, of course, there are things that you did. Washing your hair, any type of styling that we, as a people, as Black women, involved our hair, involved ourselves in, we were always implementing procedures or practices that protected the integrity of our hair. But now that we've come to a point in our culture where everything has to be now, everything has to be fast. And that means we're not really taking the time out that's necessary to really understand how our hair grows, understand the patterns, understand the textures, understand all of those things about our hair. Because we're so quick to put on what? A weave. We're so quick to, relax our hair. We're so quick to drop a wig on, or a quick wig, a quick weave, or whatever those things are that people are using with the stocking caps. We're so quick to put those things on our hair, that on top of our hair, that we don't take the time anymore to really study and enjoy and embrace our natural hair. So before you begin your dreadlock journey, sisters, I would advise you to live at least a year, 2 years tops, with natural hair, and getting to know your hair pattern, the way your hair grows, your hair texture, how to manage it, how to care for it, fall in love with it. So that when you begin this journey as a locknista, a locked queen, a diva, then some of the angst that many are feeling right about now, so that you won't feel that, so that you will be able to enjoy your journey. I say this because, and this is a discussion about texturism and colorism in the dreadlock world, as it pertains to African Americans or those of the African diaspora. I find that I've seen a lot of young people begin this journey, and they begin it with expectations that are really out of reach and out of touch. When you see a person that you love, and you love their hairstyle, and you love the way they or you just love them in general, you want to emulate that. So you may go out and you may find the designer who styled them. I should say that the outfit that the stylist may have selected for that person to wear, or you may follow the hairstylist of the person that you admire, and that way you may decide, this is how I'm going to manipulate this for myself, how I'm going to tailor it to me. And that is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. Imitation, flattery, all of those things, that's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. However, when it comes to dreadlocks, we may see someone that we admire wearing locks, and we may say, oh, I want that for myself. But once we begin the journey and get into the experience, then we look into the mirror and we say, wait a minute, something's wrong. My hair is not looking like hers is looking. Why do my dreads grow this way? Why are my dreads looking like this instead of looking like that? And so we become discouraged. And then discouragement turns into frustration, irritation, and then the next thing you know, we're getting the scissors and we're cutting off our hair, cutting our locks. Or we're looking on the internet or on social media for ways that we can attain or have a similar dreadlock experience or journey as the person that we admire. But what we have forgotten is that hair is unique to the person who grows it. So my hair is truly different than anyone else's hair texture. Your locks will not look like my locks. My locks will not look like yours. My locks will not look like Baba Marley's. My locks will not look like Lenny Kravitz's. My locks won't look like Lisa Bonet's. My locks won't look like Lauryn Hill's used to look. My locks will not look like Whoopi Goldberg's locks. My locks will not look like anyone else's because the experience is going to be true to me. It's unique to me. Locks are as different and as unique as the fingerprints on your finger. That's something that we have to understand. And when we, as African Americans, as Black Americans, as people of the diaspora, African diaspora, when we look on others who are wearing dreadlocks and we become inspired by the way their dreadlocks look, especially if they are of another ethnicity, or let's say perhaps they are biracial. Of course, their hair texture is going to be a little different than ours. So when we look at that person for inspiration, and we're saying to ourselves, well, why don't my locks curl up on the ends? Why can't I have baby hairs coming on the side of my edging of my dreadlocks? Why won't my hair do that? Why isn't my hair straight? Why isn't my new growth straight? Why is my new growth coming in like an afro? I want my locks to look like hers. I want my locks to look like Lisa Bonet's locks. I want my locks to look like that. I want that type of texture. So in your quest to find that texture with, make that texture become yours, then you begin to implement certain things. You start doing things to your locks that are damaging, such as putting relaxer on the new growth of your locks, or adding a little bit of relaxer to the body of your dreads. Perhaps cutting your dreads and then adding hair of a certain straightened texture to your locks. Now, I can understand that there are certain fads and styles and things that we engage in because it's fun and it's cute and it's now, right? But when it comes to dreads, you have to ask yourself a question. Is this a commitment for you? Is this a hairstyle for you? Because if this is merely just a hairstyle for you and not a lifestyle, then, I'm going to turn off my phone. If wearing dreads is just a hairstyle for you, then have at it. Do whatever it is that you think is best. But if this is a lifestyle for you, if this is a commitment, then you need to commit to not just wearing dreads. You need to commit to you, commit to your hair, commit to understanding the way your hair grows the way it does, commit to acquiring the knowledge, commit to understanding. Not, and I just want to say, not just understanding, falling in love with your hair texture. Because I think that is what the situation is, that we have expectations thinking that our locks are going to look one way, and then in reality our locks look the way it's supposed to. You have to fall in love with your texture. And our texture as people of African descent is we have that thing. You know, I know it's probably not politically correct to say nappy, but our hair is tightly coiled. We have tightly coiled hair, which makes our locking experience very unique to us. And because maybe as women, we have been taught and brainwashed into believing that our tightly coiled hair is ugly. Maybe because of that perception, once we begin to grow our locks and we see those tightly coiled hairs locking and becoming a community, we become frightened and we say, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for something that looked more like Lisa Bonet, you know? I'm trying to think of someone else, or maybe I'm trying to think of someone else that was wearing locks that was not of the African diaspora, and I can't think of them right now. I see their face, and I want to say that they used to be in this group called the 4 Non Blondes. I cannot remember if that's true, if that's the actual name of the group from back in the 90s, but whatever. Here's the thing, fall in love with you, fall in love with your blackness. And that's what I really am trying to say. That's what I really want to say to you. Fall in love with your blackness. Fall in love with your tightly coiled tresses. Fall in love with that, because there's nothing wrong with it. And this experience, being a dreadlock diva, Locknista queen or king, is unique. It's a wonderful experience. It's an experience of where you're wearing your crown, the crown of who you are, the crown of your ancestors, the crown of your family. This is your DNA on display. Embrace it, enjoy it, love it, wallow in it. Be proud of it. Don't slap a relaxer on your new growth and slick it down. That, I'm just going to be honest with you, that looks ridiculous. Don't cut your dreads midway and then, put a weave in or add hair to it. Come on now. What's the deal on that? Enjoy your hair. Love your hair. Love the skin you are in. And note that all of us as Black people, all of our hair textures are not going to be the same. As you can see with my hair texture, my hair texture is a little wavy. I have a little kinkiness in it, of course, but it's a little wavy because I have different, different stuff going on in my DNA. Do you know what I'm saying? As I said before, I had Native American and Chinese and African in there, and possibly a little Caucasian as well. So that's why my hair pattern is just a little bit different, than let's say my sister's hair pattern or my daughter's hair pattern. We're all different. We're all different. But the fact of the matter is that you have to love the skin that you're in, and that you can't look at other people and say, well, that's what I want. Now, when it comes to your dreadlocks, you can't. You could, but what you'll really be doing in reality is you'll be damaging your locks. You put that relaxer on your new growth, what's the end game of all of this? That's what I have to ask. What's the end game? If the end game is this is just something that you're doing that's fun, this is just a fad for you, this is just a hairstyle, then I understand it. Do your thing. Do you. But if you are really committed to this journey, then you need to ask yourself some questions. And maybe you have to do some serious soul searching as to where you think this journey is going, where you are headed on your dreadlock journey. You have to ask yourself that question. Because we can fall into the trap of wanting our hair to look a certain way based on what society, westernized society, says is beauty. And dreadlocks are totally non-conformative. My dreads goes against everything Western society says that beauty is when it comes to hair. And once you understand that, and once you embrace that, and you embrace the beauty of being you, your journey or your dreadlock journey will be a very, very beautiful one, an inspiring one for those who are admiring you. And you will begin to feel really, really good about yourself, because your dreadlocks are inherently all you. Truly. All right, well, that is what this video is about. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about colorism and dreads and colorism and dreadlocks, but the information that I have given today is probably enough for now, and we'll get into the colorism aspect of it later. But for now, enjoy the texture. And remember, your texture is not going to be the same as someone else. Your texture is not going to be the same as a Caucasian person that's wearing dreadlocks, or a biracial person that's wearing dreadlocks. Your texture is not going to be like that. Your texture is going to be unique to you as an African American person, an African American king, or African American diva, or anyone of the African diaspora. Your experience is going to be unique to you. So, are you ready? Have you made the commitment to this? Because dreadlocks, for me, is all about being black. It's all about me enjoying my blackness. My dreadlocks are not a hairstyle or part of a hairstyle. My dreadlocks is a lifestyle, and I am going into my 21st year of being a dreadlock diva, a Locknessa queen, and I would have it no other way. So I'll see you next time here in the Tiny Studio. Once again, This is Simply Nails Tiny Studio. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. And do not forget to hit that like button because that helps the YouTube gods know what's happening here in the Tiny Studio. So thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments about today's video, feel free to go ahead and drop down in the comments section and let's get the discussion going, okay? And thank you for joining me in the Tiny Studio. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.